everybody, I'm Blue, and today we are talking about an original project that I've been working on recently. It's my first genuinely original project, and I want to share it with you all while I'm still in the early concept phases. That way you guys can have a point of reference to look back on and see if things have changed, as well as a good idea for how the writing process looks like for me. In the background of this video, you're going to see design process, character development sort of doodles that are playing as I speak. In time, I'll go through and elaborate on some of the people in the background, though there might be a few familiar faces. But for now, I'm just going to focus on what the project is as a whole. So to start, the working title for this project is called Spark and Stone. As sort of a back-of-the-book style summary, I would describe it as such. Magic is commonplace, but of all the casters, there are none more revered than the summoners. Capable of bringing order to the mindless forces of nature, they use this power to erect cities and maintain society. In recent times, however, as elementals have become more and more scarce, people are beginning to doubt this once seemingly unstoppable force. 3 strangers wake up in a jail cell, with the only connection they have being their elemental heritage. Together, they must break out of the elemental conditioning facility in order to return to their daily lives. But little do they know, this is not the last they will see of each other. And now I guess this is where I should probably define what the project physically is. As much as I would love to make a webcomic, I just don't have the time, energy, patience, skill, tolerance, or really the anything to pursue such a time-consuming project. I've got an 8-to-5 job, and unfortunately that just doesn't give me much time to work on something of that nature. So instead, this is simply going to be an illustrated novel. And I say simply like I have experience with this. I don't. But I have experience with drawing pictures, and I have experience with writing, so I'm just gonna slam the 2 things together and hope it works out okay for everyone. Now, I'm still fairly early in the development of this, but I have my outline, my lead characters, and a ball of string that somehow connects all of it together into a mess that only I can read, so now all I have to do is figure out how to share it with you guys. Which, because it isn't a comic, I'm having a little bit of trouble with that, figuring exactly where to host it specifically. As of right now, the only thing I have in mind is a dedicated Tumblr blog to this specifically. Hopefully in time I can find a few other more convenient locations, because I know from experience that the link system on Tumblr is busted as all get out. But I will let you know when I actually launch it, and if you have any suggestions for something of this sort of nature, please let me know down in the comments below, because I am not convinced this is the best place for it. Aren't you proud of me, guys? We made it this far into the video, and I have not talked about characters being cool once. But that changes now, as I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of the 3 main characters for the story, 2 of which you are familiar with, them being Camillo and Jubilee. Camillo is still the flouncy, silly, by his own whims kind of guy that he was in the video that I did previously, talking about his general deal. But now he is no longer trapped by TTRPG rules, which means I can talk about him a lot more freely because I actually know what's gonna be going on with him. So for the last 4 years, Camillo has been on a quest. He is looking for a green-skinned, white-haired elemental woman for personal reasons. He has traveled the majority of the continent on his quest, and yet in all this time, he has not learned anything about traversing the outdoors. He hates bugs, he hates trees, he hates bushes and shrubs and all of the things that snag at his clothes, and he hates sweating his makeup off. He loathes it all, and chooses instead to travel with companions who can deal with that sort of nature-y stuff for him. However, when he hears rumors that a certain green-skinned woman was seen not too terribly long ago at a certain conditioning facility, well, it's worth looking into. But being a strange outsider like he is, he's gonna have to figure out a more unique and interesting way to explore the facilities. So he woos a guard and hopes for a tour. Although things don't go quite as planned, he does in fact find himself inside the facility at the start of the story. Jubilee is largely unchanged, and the parts that have changed I don't particularly want to talk about yet. She finds herself in the facility at the start of the story after pursuing a thief who stole some of her departed mother's belongings. In her lack of world knowledge, she is quickly subdued and her true form is recognized. Somewhat. Maybe? That's just some sort of a gunky water elemental, right? Well, regardless, Professor Baleperk, head of the conditioning facility, will be very interested in something this unique. And lastly, there is Aurum, my newest kiddo. They're based off of my backup character for my Pathfinder campaign, Giant Slayer, but because that character is so tightly bound into how Giant Slayer works and what it's about, I've had to completely rewrite anything except for the key components that I was wanting to keep. So, Aurum is an earth elemental, themed around bicolor tourmaline. They are a guardian spirit to a protected sanctuary for elementals. Its location has been kept fairly secret for a very long time, and they want to do everything they can to make sure it stays a secret and stays safe for all of these homeless elementals. And that even includes getting captured in the place of someone who's a little bit more loose-lipped than they are. This unlikely trio meet in a jail cell. Together they escape, go their separate ways, unaware that fate is going to bring them right back together. All three of them have their own goals, their own backstories, their own things that they want to accomplish and do with themselves. And maybe, just maybe, the three of them can help each other along the way. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, honestly, that's hardly it at all. That's just scratching at the surface. But I wanted to start with something kind of rough, something unpolished to show you guys how the series develops from here. I want to give you occasional updates, as well as eventually dropping a release date. I'm somebody who tends to get really wrapped up in the concept phase and working on something to the point that all that's left to do is actually start the thing, and that's exactly where I drop the project. So, I'm making this not just to show you guys my process, but also to bully myself into actually doing the thing. As of right now, I do have a release date in mind, but if I follow through, remains to be seen. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the sneak peek of the main characters and the general story vibes of this concept. And make sure you subscribe if you have any interest in keeping up with Spark and Stone. Later!